In today's lesson, it's all about the show. We'll be discussing how to use sensory details to make your words really come to life. And you'll notice up here we've put the sight, taste, smell, sound, touch, all of the sensory details and some other techniques that can really show your audience what you're thinking rather than just telling them what you're thinking. So today I have a scene from my defining moment, the scene where I arrive at my first interview, and I think it's okay. I say that when I arrived in the Parker office that morning, I was greeted by Mrs. O'Connell. She offered me a cup of coffee, but I was too nervous. I feel like it sets the scene, but I'm not exactly sure where to go next.
I agree, Mr. Spinelli. I think that we could spice this up a bit by letting our readers see what you were doing and hear what kind of sounds were happening and get some more visuals and sensory details to make it stronger.
So one of the things that maybe we should look at then is some previous examples from past defining moments. And here's one from a student who is describing the experience of getting her puppy for her first time. And I'm interested to hear what you like about this one, Miss Halsey.
She looked so perfect with her deep brown eyes wandering around our front yard, which probably seemed like a new world for her. When she warmed up to us, her fluffy gold fur was full of life as she ran back and forth, person to person, with her small apricot ears bouncing along with her. Although she was as cute as can be, my favorite thing about her was her tiny black nose, which framed her face perfectly. So what makes this so good is partially her adjectives that she used. She uses them to describe a lot of the different objects on the dog. Deep brown eyes is a great adjective. I can see that. These eyes. I can see the deep brown. I can also see her fluffy gold fur. Some other really strong adjectives that I can picture and even feel. Oops. Okay. I love the description of her apricot ears, and I can almost taste apricots as I'm reading that. Although that seems funny to taste apricots, I think it makes you think of sweetness and really makes you feel like this dog is a sweet dog to be around. I want to meet her. Another adjective she used was tiny black nose. So again, I can see a lot of different adjectives in this. I also really like the image of her ears bouncing along with her. So lots of visuals in here, making it strong writing.
But what are some of the other ways, like if I don't have any specific sensory details that I can remember about the event?
Well, here's another great section from a student's writing from last year that uses some exaggeration to really help give a visual of what she's feeling. She was describing moving. She said, I hated my new house. I understood that we had a huge pool table and a foosball table and a pool with a slide, but I would have traded it all for a wrecking ball to crash this house. It's a really strong statement that makes you sense exactly how much she's dreading this new house of hers.
So sometimes it's like instead of just saying I feel angry, showing us how angry you are by letting us kind of into your inner thoughts. So here's mine again. I mean, now that I'm seeing other ones, I'm feeling kind of cruddy about mine. So what else can I do?
All right, well, let's throw in some of those sensory details. So what about, could you put in something that you smelled? You mentioned coffee.
I do remember there was like a smell of coffee, so I can put that right here.
All right, what
And
else?
then I remember walking in and just like everything was new because the janitors were working. I remember that the hallway smelled a lot like fresh paint.
Okay, what did you feel?
Um, well, I mean, like I felt that my stomach, like I mentioned down here, the smell of the coffee really made my stomach kind of do flips, and it was like butterflies were going crazy in there as I was waiting for the first meeting. And then when I walked in up here, there was kind of like this eeriness. I'm not used to being in a school building where there aren't kids. So it was kind of a weird experience. It's very quiet, very eerie, very dark, with the exception of the front office.
Yeah, I can relate to that feeling when kids aren't around. What about hearing?
I remember in my head humming to and tapping Tayo Cruz's Dynamite at my foot, and chewing my nails as I was getting nervous. So I can remember kind of the sounds and what that probably looked like outwardly.
Okay, was there anything else you felt or other good details you could add?
I guess the only way I could sum up what I was thinking in waiting for it was that I was just constantly wondering if this was finally my chance or just like another tease or another almost there.
Okay, so we got a lot of things we could include and to spice this up.
So here's my revised version. When I walked through the Parker lobby, I was instantly smacked with the distinct smell of fresh paint. Without the clang of lockers and murmur of teenage gossip, there was an eerie silence in the building. Upon entering the office, Mrs. O'Connell offered me a fresh cup of coffee, but the smell alone made the butterflies in my stomach flap even harder. While I waited for what felt like hours, I anxiously chewed my nails and tapped my foot to the last song I'd heard in the car, Dynamite. In between humming the lyrics, I thought to myself, is this finally my chance, or just another disappointing conclusion?
I really like that, Mr. Spinelli. You added a lot of great sensory details so that now I can really picture you walking into this school and feeling that anxiety leading up to finding out whether you were going to get your job or not.
So we hope this lesson has helped give you a sense for how you go about adding sensory details into your writing. When you come into class on Friday, we're going to do some peer revision focused on this skill. And so start thinking about tonight, what kind of details, what kind of language can I add to really show my audience what I was feeling, what I was thinking, and show them why the story is important to you. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.